My friends, I want to share with you tonight something that will completely transform your relationship with money. Not through effort, not through struggle, but through understanding a simple truth that consciousness is the only reality. What if I told you that your bank account right now has absolutely nothing to do with your ability to create massive wealth? What if I told you that someone living paycheck to paycheck could manifest $10,000 faster than a millionaire could manifest their next million? I know that sounds impossible to your rational mind, but before this evening is over, I'm going to completely shatter everything you think you know about wealth creation. Let me share with you a story that illustrates this perfectly. I observed two people, both 35 years old, both college graduates, both living in the same city with identical circumstances. The first person worked 60 hours a week at their corporate position, maintained 3 side ventures running on weekends, followed every financial advisor's recommendations religiously, budgeted every single penny, read investment books voraciously, attended wealth seminars, tracked expenses obsessively, and sacrificed their entire social life for financial goals. They did everything the experts commanded them to do. The second person worked part-time at something they absolutely loved, spent money freely on things that brought them joy and fulfillment, never worried about their finances, never checked their bank balance obsessively, had never read a finance book or attended a wealth seminar in their life, and didn't even maintain a budget. To most financial advisors, this second person would be considered financially irresponsible, even reckless. After 5 years, the second person had 10 times more money than the first. They didn't inherit it, didn't win any lottery, didn't get lucky with investments, didn't start with any advantages whatsoever. The only difference, and I mean the only difference, was what was happening in their consciousness around money. The first person was operating from what I call scarcity consciousness. The deep-seated belief that money is hard to get, that you must work extremely hard for every dollar, that there isn't enough to go around, that you must sacrifice and struggle to be worthy of wealth. The second person was operating from wealth consciousness. The absolute knowing that money flows easily and naturally to those who are aligned with it, that opportunities are everywhere waiting to be recognized, that abundance is their natural birthright, that wealth is simply a reflection of their inner state of being, and that difference in consciousness created completely different financial realities. This is what I call the great deception about money. And once you see it, you can never unsee it. Your entire relationship with money will transform forever. You see, most of you have been programmed since childhood with a fundamental lie. This lie has been reinforced by your parents who learned it from their parents, taught in schools, promoted by society, and especially perpetuated by the financial industry itself, because it keeps them in business. You've been told that money comes from external effort alone. Work harder, get more money. Work smarter, get more money. Get more education, more skills, more connections, more experience. Save more, invest more, budget more, sacrifice more, hustle more. The entire financial world operates on this fundamental assumption that money is created through external action and external action alone. I'm not saying those things don't matter. External action is important. But here's what nobody tells you. Here's the secret the financial industry doesn't want you to know, because it would put them out of business. All of that external action is completely powerless without the right consciousness behind it. You can have the best financial strategy in the world, but if your consciousness is tuned to scarcity, that strategy will fail. You can work 80 hours a week, but if your inner state is one of lack and limitation, you'll stay broke no matter how hard you work. Think about it this way. And this analogy will change how you see everything. You have two people planting identical seeds, same size, same genetic potential for growth. One person plants their seeds in rich, fertile soil that's been prepared with organic nutrients, perfect drainage, optimal conditions for growth. They've created an environment where those seeds cannot help but flourish. The other person takes the exact same seeds and plants them in concrete, hard, impenetrable concrete that won't allow any growth whatsoever. They water them with the same care, give them the same sunlight, tend to them with the same attention and dedication. Which seeds grow? Obviously the ones in fertile soil. The external action, planting the seed, watering it, giving it sunlight, caring for it, was identical. But the environment, the foundation, the soil itself determined whether those seeds would flourish or die before they even had a chance to sprout. Your consciousness is that soil. Your beliefs about money, your assumptions about wealth, your inner state around finances, your subconscious programming about what you deserve, your inherited beliefs from your family, your cultural conditioning about wealthy people, that's the environment where all your financial efforts either flourish or die. Most people have been trying to grow money in concrete their entire lives, wondering why nothing works, wondering why they can't get ahead no matter how hard they try, wondering why other people seem to have it so easy while they struggle for every dollar. They're focused entirely on the external actions, the seeds they're planting, the watering, the care, while completely ignoring the soil of their consciousness. But consciousness, that invisible inner environment, that's the true source of all wealth. So let me ask you something. Where does money actually come from? Most would immediately say work or business or investments or the stock market or real estate. But think deeper than that. Think about the fundamental source. Where do business ideas come from? Where do investment opportunities come from? Where do the insights that lead to financial breakthroughs come from? Where do the innovations that create billion-dollar companies come from? They come from consciousness, from awareness, from your ability to recognize patterns that others miss, to see possibilities that others overlook, to attract what already exists in the infinite field of potential. Every single dollar that has ever entered your life came to you through your consciousness first. You became aware of an opportunity others didn't see. You recognized a possibility others missed. You had an idea others didn't have. You met the right person at the right time. You were in the right place when the opportunity presented itself. And here's the key that changes everything. The money was always there, existing in the quantum field of infinite possibilities, waiting for someone with the right consciousness to recognize it and claim it. Every business that exists today, every fortune that's been made, every financial opportunity that's ever manifested, all of these existed as possibilities long before someone made them real. The television and radio existed as a possibility long before they were invented. Your next financial breakthrough exists as a possibility right now, waiting for your consciousness to tune into it. Your consciousness is like a radio that can tune into different frequencies of possibility. When your consciousness is tuned to scarcity, you literally cannot see the opportunities that are right in front of you. Your mind filters them out because they don't match your predominant frequency. When your consciousness is tuned to wealth, you become magnetic to financial opportunities. You start noticing things you never noticed before. You start attracting people and circumstances that create abundance. Let me share another story that makes this crystal clear. I knew a woman named Sarah who struggled financially for 7 years straight. She worked 2 jobs, one as a waitress and one cleaning offices at night, barely making ends meet, constantly living paycheck to paycheck with no savings. She tried everything the financial experts recommend. She used budgeting applications, tried multiple side ventures, took on extra shifts, even went back to school for additional certifications. She read every money book she could find, attended every free wealth seminar, followed every piece of conventional financial advice. Nothing worked. In fact, things seemed to get worse the harder she tried. She was stuck in what I call the effort trap, the belief that more effort equals more results. But she was applying all that effort from scarcity consciousness, so she kept getting scarcity results. It's like trying to drive with the parking brake engaged. No matter how hard you press the accelerator, you're not going anywhere. Then she learned what I'm teaching you tonight. She stopped focusing on her current financial situation and started operating from wealth consciousness. Instead of making decisions from I can't afford it, she started making decisions from how can I afford it. Instead of thinking I'm broke, she started assuming I have access to unlimited wealth. Instead of worrying about money constantly, she started feeling grateful for the abundance already flowing to her, even though she couldn't see it yet. Instead of seeing herself as someone who struggles with money, she started seeing herself as someone who naturally attracts wealth. Within 3 months, Her life completely transformed. Her employer at the restaurant offered her a management position she didn't even apply for, along with a 40% salary increase. A week later, a customer she had served once months earlier approached her about a business partnership that would essentially double her income while working fewer hours. 2 weeks after that, her neighbor, a successful entrepreneur traveling abroad for 6 months, asked if she wanted to stay in their beautiful home rent-free while they were gone. A month later, walking through a parking lot, she found a wallet with $300 cash and no identification. After following all legal procedures and waiting the required time, she was able to keep the money. 2 months after that, she had an idea for teaching people her wellness routines through an evening course. She had never created such a course before, had no technical skills, no marketing experience, no business background. But from her new consciousness of abundance, the idea felt natural and exciting rather than overwhelming and impossible. She launched that course and made $15,000 in her first month. Within a year, she had built a six-figure business working from home, doing what she loved. Now here's what will probably give you chills when you fully understand it. Your current financial reality is actually showing you exactly what's happening in your consciousness right now. It's like a perfect readout of your inner state around money. What I'm about to share will change how you see money forever. I call it the money mirror principle, and it's one of the most profound truths about wealth creation. Your external financial reality is a perfect mirror reflection of your internal financial consciousness. Not what you consciously want, not what you hope for, not what you tell yourself you desire, but what you truly believe and assume to be true about money at the deepest levels of your subconscious mind. Your bank account, your income, your financial opportunities, your money problems, your relationship with wealth, all of it is reflecting back to you the exact consciousness you're broadcasting about money, most of which is happening below your conscious awareness. This is why you cannot lie to the universe. You cannot fake wealth consciousness. You cannot pretend your way to abundance. The mirror of reality always shows you the truth of what's really happening inside your consciousness. If you look in a physical mirror and see a frown, you don't try to change the mirror, correct? You don't get angry at the mirror or try to convince it to show you a smile. You don't put cosmetics on the mirror or try to manipulate the reflection. You change your facial expression, and the mirror changes automatically and instantly to match your new expression. The same with money. If you want to change your financial reflection, you must change your financial consciousness first. The external always follows the internal, never the other way around. This is why trying to create wealth through external action alone is like trying to change your reflection by manipulating the mirror. It doesn't work because you're working on the effect rather than the cause. When someone truly believes, not hopes, not wishes, not wants, but truly believes at a cellular subconscious level that money comes easily to them, their entire behavior shifts automatically without effort. They notice opportunities that were always there but invisible to them before. They make different choices without even thinking about it consciously. They take different actions that feel natural and effortless rather than forced and difficult. They attract different people into their lives. They have different conversations. They show up differently in the world. And those shifted behaviors create completely different results. When someone believes deep down that money is hard to get, that they must struggle for every dollar, that they don't deserve wealth, that wealthy people are somehow corrupt or different, that there isn't enough to go around, they unconsciously sabotage every opportunity that comes their way. They overlook possibilities right in front of them. They make fear-based decisions that keep them stuck in limitation. They attract people and circumstances that confirm their limiting beliefs. They engage in self-sabotaging behaviors without even realizing it. And they get fear-based limited results that match their inner state. But changing consciousness isn't about positive thinking or daily affirmations or vision boards, though those can be helpful tools when used correctly. It requires understanding something much more fundamental and powerful that most people never learn. This brings us to the law of assumption, the most powerful principle in money creation and honestly in all of reality creation. Most people have never heard of the law of assumption, even though it's operating in their lives every single day. They've heard of the law of attraction, but the law of assumption is far more powerful and far more practical. Here's the critical difference that changes everything. And pay close attention, because this could be the most important thing you ever learn about creating wealth. When you hope for money, when you wish for wealth, when you want financial abundance, you're actually affirming and reinforcing the fact that you don't currently have it. Hope implies lack. Wishing implies absence. Wanting means you're focused on what you don't have rather than what you do have. Every time you hope for money, you're unconsciously telling the universe, I don't have money, please give me some. And the universe responds by giving you more experiences of not having money. But when you assume wealth is yours, when you operate from the inner knowing that abundance is your natural state, when you make decisions as if you already have access to unlimited financial resources, you're claiming wealth is already true in your reality. You're not asking for it. You're not begging for it. You're not hoping for it. You're assuming it. You're embodying it. You're living from it. Let me give you a simple example that will make this crystal clear and show you how assumption works in everyday life. If I told you right now to hope that you're wearing clothes, that would be strange, wouldn't it? You don't hope you're wearing clothes. You assume it. You know it. It's not even a question. You don't have to check. You don't have to wonder. You don't have to convince yourself or use affirmations to believe it. You simply assume that you're clothed, and you operate from that assumption automatically and unconsciously. That assumption affects everything about how you show up in the world. You don't worry about being naked. You don't feel self-conscious about your nudity. You don't hope that people won't notice you're not wearing clothes. You simply operate from the assumption that you're appropriately dressed, and that assumption creates your entire experience of reality in that moment. That's exactly how you need to relate to money and wealth. Not as something you're desperately trying to get. Not as something outside of you that you need to chase or struggle for. Not as something you have to convince the universe to give you, but as something you already have natural, unlimited access to. It's a shift from I want money to I am wealthy. From I hope I can afford it to I can afford anything I truly desire. From money is hard to get to money flows to me easily and constantly. In the quantum field of infinite possibilities. And quantum physics has proven this scientifically through experiments like the double-slit experiment. There exists every possible version of reality simultaneously. There's a version where you're struggling financially, and there's also a version where you're incredibly wealthy. There's a timeline where you're worried about money, and there's a timeline where money is never a concern for you. There's a reality where you work hard for every dollar, and there's a reality where money comes to you effortlessly. All of these realities exist simultaneously in what physicists call the quantum field. When you assume the wealthy version as your true reality, when you embody that timeline with your thoughts, feelings, decisions, and actions, you begin collapsing that possibility into your physical experience. You start attracting the people, circumstances, opportunities, and resources that exist in that wealthy timeline. The difference between wanting money and being wealthy is the difference between lack consciousness and abundance consciousness. Wanting keeps you perpetually in a state of not having. Being puts you in a state of already having. And the universe always gives you more of whatever state you're predominantly in. Think about it this way. If you want ice cream, that means you don't have ice cream. The wanting itself is an affirmation of lack. But if you're eating ice cream, you're not wanting it. You're having it, enjoying it, being satisfied by it. When you want money, you're in the frequency of not having money. When you assume you're wealthy, you're in the frequency of having wealth. And when you truly understand this, when this clicks at a deep level, you realize that there's an actual frequency to wealth itself. Let me introduce you to what I call the wealth frequency. And this concept alone could transform your entire financial reality forever. Everything in existence operates at different vibrational frequencies. This isn't mystical nonsense. This is basic physics that you can measure with scientific instruments. Love has a measurable frequency. Fear has a frequency. Gratitude has a frequency. Joy has a frequency. And wealth, abundance, financial prosperity. These have a very specific frequency that you can learn to tune into consciously. Scientists have actually measured the frequency of different emotions using specialized technology. They found that emotions like gratitude, love, and appreciation create coherent, harmonious frequency patterns, while emotions like fear, anger, and worry create chaotic, incoherent patterns. When you're in coherent frequency states, you literally become more magnetic to positive outcomes and opportunities. When you align your consciousness with the wealth frequency, when you match your inner vibration to the vibration of abundance, you become magnetic to money. You start attracting opportunities, ideas, people, insights, and circumstances that create financial abundance. It's not magic or wishful thinking. It's physics. Think of it like tuning a radio. And this analogy will change how you think about consciousness forever. When you tune to 101.5 FM, you receive that station's signal clearly. When you tune to 95.3 FM, you get that station instead. The radio waves for both stations are always there, filling the air around you simultaneously, but you only receive the one you're tuned to. You cannot receive multiple stations clearly at the same time. You must choose one frequency to focus on. When you tune your consciousness to the wealth frequency, you receive wealth. When you're tuned to the scarcity frequency, you receive scarcity. When you're tuned to the struggle frequency, you receive struggle. When you're tuned to the abundance frequency, you receive abundance. The opportunities for all of these experiences are always present, but you can only receive the ones that match your frequency. Most people are unconsciously broadcasting the scarcity frequency 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They're constantly transmitting thoughts, feelings, and energy of lack, worry, limitation, not enough, fear about money, stress about bills, anxiety about the future, resentment toward wealthy people, beliefs that money is hard to get, and the universe, like a perfect mirror, reflects back exactly what they're broadcasting. They get more experiences of lack, more bills to worry about, more financial stress, more reasons to feel anxious about money. But once you learn how to consciously tune to the wealth frequency, your entire financial reality transforms. You start operating from assumption rather than hope, from abundance rather than lack, from gratitude rather than worry, from excitement rather than fear. You begin making decisions the way wealthy people make decisions. You start seeing opportunities the way wealthy people see opportunities. You attract the same types of people and circumstances that wealthy people attract. But here's the most important part. And this is where most people get confused or think this is about denial or delusion. None of this requires you to deny your current financial situation or pretend that your bank account has more money than it actually has. You're not lying to yourself or living in fantasy or ignoring reality. You're simply operating from a different level of consciousness, a different assumption about what's possible for you. You can acknowledge your current situation while simultaneously operating from wealth consciousness. You can say, I currently have $500 in my bank account and I have access to unlimited wealth. You can say, I'm currently experiencing a cash flow challenge and I know that abundance is my natural state. You can say, my income is currently this amount and I'm open to receiving much more. The key is holding both truths simultaneously, the current physical reality and the larger spiritual reality. You're not denying what is, but you're also not limiting yourself to what is. You're acknowledging what is while claiming what's possible. Most people make the mistake of thinking that acknowledging their current financial situation means they have to accept it as permanent. But that's not true. You can acknowledge where you are while simultaneously moving toward where you want to be. In fact, you must acknowledge where you are in order to move beyond it, because you cannot change what you won't acknowledge. The moment you truly grasp that consciousness creates your financial reality, not the other way around. Everything shifts in the most profound way. You realize you've been trying to solve an inner problem with outer solutions. You've been trying to change your bank account to feel wealthy when the real secret is to feel wealthy first, and let your bank account catch up. You've been trying to change your circumstances, to change your feelings, when the truth is you must change your feelings to change your circumstances. Most people are waiting for their external circumstances to change before they'll allow themselves to feel abundant. They think once I have more money, then I'll feel wealthy. Once I get that promotion, then I'll feel successful. Once I pay off my debts, then I'll feel free. Once I reach my financial goals, then I'll be happy. But that's backwards. That's like waiting for the mirror to smile before you smile. It will never happen because the mirror can only reflect what you're already expressing. You must feel wealthy now, in this moment, regardless of your current circumstances, in order to attract the experiences that will match that feeling. You must embody abundance before abundance can manifest in your life. You must become the person who has what you want before you can have what you want. This is why some people can start with nothing and create massive wealth quickly, while others can work for decades with all the correct strategies and stay stuck financially. It's not about luck, connections, education, intelligence, or even hard work, though all of those can be helpful. It's about consciousness. It's about the frequency you're broadcasting. It's about the assumptions you're operating from on a moment-to-moment basis. When you embody wealth consciousness, when you truly assume that abundance is your natural state, when you make decisions from overflow rather than scarcity, the universe has no choice but to reorganize itself to match your new level of consciousness. Opportunities appear seemingly out of nowhere. Ideas download into your mind like inspiration from another dimension. The right people show up at the right time with the right resources. Synchronicities become normal everyday experiences. What most people call luck becomes your standard operating procedure. Your consciousness is the soil where your financial future grows. Just like a farmer wouldn't plant seeds in concrete and expect them to flourish, you cannot plant money goals in scarcity consciousness and expect them to manifest. But when you prepare the soil of your consciousness, when you cultivate beliefs that support wealth, when you assume abundance as your natural state, every financial goal you plant will grow and flourish beyond what you thought possible. The financial industry doesn't want you to know this because it would put them out of business. They want you to believe that wealth creation is complicated, that you need their products and services, that you must follow their complex strategies and formulas, that you need to work with financial advisors and purchase their investment products and follow their complicated plans. But the truth is much simpler and much more powerful than anything they're selling you. Wealth is an inside job. It starts in consciousness and flows outward into physical reality. When your consciousness is aligned with abundance, the correct strategies, opportunities, and resources will naturally appear in your life. When your consciousness is aligned with scarcity, no strategy in the world will create lasting wealth for you. This doesn't mean that external action isn't important. Of course you need to take action. But when action comes from wealth consciousness rather than scarcity consciousness, it feels inspired rather than desperate, effortless rather than forced, exciting rather than overwhelming. You find yourself naturally attracted to the correct opportunities and naturally repelled by the wrong ones. You make better decisions because you're not operating from fear. You take more calculated risks because you're not afraid of losing what little you have. Here's what I want you to understand at the deepest level. You are not your circumstances. You are not your bank account. You are not your current financial situation. You are consciousness itself. And consciousness has the power to create any reality it assumes to be true. The money you want already exists. The wealth you desire is already yours in the quantum field of infinite possibilities. The only question is whether you're going to claim it or continue to reject it through limiting beliefs and scarcity consciousness. Every wealthy person started exactly where you are right now, as consciousness contemplating wealth. They didn't have the money first and then develop wealth consciousness. They developed wealth consciousness first and then the money followed. This is the sequence that creates lasting abundance. Consciousness first, then manifestation, not the other way around. Your current financial situation is not your financial identity. It's just where you happen to be right now based on the consciousness you've been operating from up until this point. But consciousness can change, which means your financial reality can change. And the beautiful thing is that when consciousness changes, reality changes quickly to match it. I've witnessed people transform their financial lives in weeks or months by simply shifting their consciousness around money. I've watched people attract unexpected income, new opportunities, and financial windfalls by learning to operate from wealth consciousness rather than scarcity consciousness. And I've also witnessed people work incredibly hard for years without success because they never addressed the consciousness foundation that creates wealth. The universe is abundant. There is more than enough money, more than enough opportunities, more than enough resources for everyone to live in prosperity. The only limitation is in consciousness. When you release the limitations in your consciousness, you release the limitations in your financial reality. But transformation requires commitment. It requires you to be more committed to your vision of abundance than you are to your current story of limitation. It requires you to choose faith over fear, possibility over circumstance, assumption over hope. It requires you to trust the process even when you cannot see immediate results. Remember, consciousness is the cause and financial reality is the effect. When you change the cause, the effect must change. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And often the when is much sooner than you think possible. I want you to identify one limiting belief you've been carrying about money. Perhaps it's money doesn't grow on trees, or you must work hard for money, or there's not enough to go around, or wealthy people are greedy, or I don't deserve wealth, or money is the root of all evil. Acknowledge it, because awareness is the first step to transformation. You cannot change what you're not aware of. Then rewrite that belief into an empowering assumption. Instead of money doesn't grow on trees, think money flows to me easily and naturally from multiple sources. Instead of I must work hard for money, think I create wealth through inspired action and joy. Instead of there's not enough, think I live in an abundant universe with unlimited resources. Instead of I don't deserve wealth, think I deserve all the abundance life has to offer. Start operating from wealth consciousness today. Don't wait for your circumstances to change. Don't wait for more money to appear. Don't wait for the perfect opportunity. Start now in this moment with the decision to assume that abundance is your natural state. Your consciousness is the soil where your financial future grows. Make certain you're planting your money goals in fertile ground. Your wealth transformation doesn't start when your bank account changes. It starts when your consciousness changes. And that can happen right now, in this moment with this decision. The wealthy version of you already exists in the quantum field of infinite possibilities. That version is calling to you right now, inviting you to step into that reality. The question is, are you ready to answer that call? Are you ready to release the limitations that have kept you small? Are you ready to claim the abundance that is your birthright? Your new financial reality is waiting for you to claim it. The universe is ready to support your transformation. Wealth consciousness is ready to be activated in your life. The only question is, are you ready to step into wealth consciousness and become the abundant person you were always meant to be? This is your moment of choice. This is your invitation to transformation. This is your opportunity to step out of limitation and into limitless possibility. The choice is yours, and it starts with consciousness. Choose wealth, choose abundance, choose the unlimited financial potential that exists within you right now. Your journey to financial freedom begins here. Your transformation to wealth consciousness starts now. Thank you. As always, thank you for joining me on this journey into the depths of consciousness. Remember, you are not here by accident. You are here because your soul is ready for this truth. Take these teachings and let them transform not just your mind, but your entire reality. Until we meet again in consciousness, keep assuming your greatness and living from the end of your desires. This is Best of Lectures, and I'll see you in the next video.